Let's begin this half hour with the Today exclusive. Bernard Kerik is a law enforcement legend in New York. As head of the notorious Rikers Island jail, he ran one of the largest jails in the country, and he's credited with turning it around. Kerik went on to lead the New York City Police Department during 9/11. And with his career on the rise in 2004, then President George W. Bush nominated him to be Secretary of Homeland Security. But that came to an abrupt halt when Kerik pled guilty to tax evasion and lying to the White House. He served 3 years in a federal minimum security prison in Maryland, and he was released back in May. We spoke to Kerik exclusively earlier this week, just days after his home confinement ended. And I began by asking how he's doing.
I feel pretty good. It's all a transition. It's a pretty intense transition to come home.
Talk to me a little bit about daily life. What was it like for you?
There isn't much you can do in prison. My daily life consisted of reading. I think I read over 300 books while I was there. I did a lot of writing. I exercised a lot.
Thought a lot, I would imagine.
You do a lot of thinking.
Did you mix with the other inmates?
Yes.
Any fear about that?
No, but I was with men that was sentenced to 30 years. A lot of people were skeptical. A lot of people were, a lot of people didn't want to come near me, didn't want to talk to me. But over time, I got to know many of them. Over time, I got to help many of them. Over time, I got to teach. I taught a life lessons class there.
You talked about your writing in prison. A year in to your sentence, you sat down and you wrote what I'll call a white paper, okay, on what was going on around you. A lot of these inmates, according to you, feel as if their lives are over, basically. Even when they get out, they will never be whole again. One inmate told you that prison is like dying with your eyes open.
These young men, they come into the prison system, first time nonviolent offense, low-level drug offense. The system is supposed to help them, not destroy them.
At the core of your argument here is that these minimum mandatory federal sentences are not doing what they intended to do.
No. You know what? When I came into the system, I didn't realize it's a nickel. Hold it. Feel the weight of it? Feel it?
Yeah.
I had no idea that for 5 grams of cocaine, which is what that nickel weighs, 5 grams, you could be sentenced to 10 years in prison. I was with men sentenced to 10 years in prison for 5 grams of cocaine. That's insane. That's insane.
And I'm listening to you, Bernie, but I can almost hear people watching this interview say, yeah, it's tough, but Bernie, Kerik, and others broke the law. That's what you get.
That's one way to look at it, and that's the way I looked at it before I went in. Except the reality is, you want people to be punished. You want to punish them? Okay, punish them. But don't destroy them. Anybody that thinks that you can take these young black men out of Baltimore and D.C., give them a 10-year sentence for 5 grams of cocaine, and then believe that they're going to return to society a better person 10 years from now when you give them no life improvement skills, when you give them no real rehabilitation. That is not benefiting society.
Your perspective is unique here.
No one in the history of our country has ever been in the system with my background. No one. Unless you live within the system.
You have to be in the bars? On the other side of the bars?
You have to be on the other side of the bars. You have to see what it's like to be a victim of the system, so to speak. There's no way to do that from the outside.
There are going to be people saying, wait a second, this guy ran the New York City Police Department. He ran Rikers. He put people in jail and he threw away the key for years and years. And now that he screwed up and he's a convicted felon, he's had a change of heart. And they're going to say, give me a break.
This has nothing to do with me. I did my time. I'm done. This is about a system that is broken. The system isn't going to change if you don't open the eyes of the American people in Congress. If the American people and members of Congress saw what I saw, there would be anger, there would be outrage, and there would be change, because nobody would stand for it.
We're going to have more of this interview tonight on Nightly News and then on Meet the Press. And again, he's going to be here live on Monday. I think what's going to happen, people are going to listen to him. Some are going to say, I don't want to hear it from this guy. And others are going to say, you know what? His perspective is something we need to hear.
It's a unique perspective.
Well, it's incredible to see somebody who spent his life in law enforcement now saying, almost serving as an advocate for those who are serving time in prison. It's fascinating.
Is he going to do something to try to help make a change?
He would like to have a voice in this debate. Whether anybody allows him to have that voice because he is in fact a convicted felon is still questionable.